to our candidate interview featuring Brad Boyd, who's a candidate for the Olathe School Board Member 2 position. I am Natalie Bright with the Olathe Chamber, conducting today's interview on behalf of the Johnson County Public Policy Council. The council is a collaborative effort of 10 chambers of commerce in Johnson County who collectively represent more than 5,000 businesses. We developed these questions which focus on business and community issues. Before we get into the questions, Brad, I would like to provide an opportunity for you to just tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're choosing to run again for the Olathe School Board position 2.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you for having this interview. And I want to thank the Chamber and thank you again for your flexibility, your patience in getting this scheduled. But I am in my heart of hearts. I'm just a dad who have 4 kids in the district, and I want to do any and everything I can possible to make sure that their experience in our district is an experience that's enjoyable for them. And every kid in our district. I feel like, as I have started my tenure on the board almost 4 years ago, that tenure has been very reactionary. And I'm looking forward to finishing some unfinished business. I'm looking forward to our board being a place where we can be forward looking and start forecasting some things versus reacting to crises and trying to put out fires.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And now we're going to get with the questions. And the first one is pretty easy. As a school board candidate, what are your top 3 policy issues?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, we have to make sure that we are maintaining our academic level of excellence. That's what we are tasked with doing, educating our kids, making sure that they are prepared for their future. Beyond that, I think we have to make sure that we are creating a safe and secure environment, because we know when kids don't feel safe, when they don't feel loved, when the environment they're in is not supportive of them learning, that doesn't happen. So those two go hand in hand. And then finally, I think we have to acknowledge the current times that we are living in. And it seems like public education is just under attack left and right. So I want to be one of those candidates that's constantly defending public education, defending our teachers. And, if I can go off on a tangent here, I remember, back in the day growing up and even as a young adult, teachers being revered, teachers being respected, and the field of education being a field where, we were all collectively indebted to them because of the work that they did. I don't know what happened and where that went, but I think we need to get back to that place of realizing that our teachers have incredible responsibility, and that's to educate our future. And they don't get paid enough for it, and we need to do more to support them.
Well, that's a segue into the next question. What are your thoughts on the K312 funding of education?
Yeah, as I mentioned, I think it's constantly under attack. When you look at public education, a system that has to accept any and every kid, no matter where they're at, and try to do their best to get that kid growing, to move that kid to where they can be, to maximize their potential. It's an incredible burden, but I think our system here in Olathe has done a really good job. If you're talking about special education to general education, we have really done a really good job to make sure that we are constantly challenging our kids. And to do that, we have to empower our teachers to make sure that they have our support to continue to educate our children. I think when you look at the state level and look at, state funding and how our schools are being funded here in Olathe, we are constantly underfunded. So I think that's a challenge. We just navigated a budget challenge last year. Gratefully, we're in a much better space this year to absorb, some of the ebbs and flowing. But when you look at, open enrollment happening next year, there's just a lot that's on the horizon. And without the support of our community and without our teachers feeling like they do have our support and respect, it's going to be a challenge for us to educate our kids.
All right, we're going to shift a little bit and talk about the K-12 education system's accountability measures, which are for student performance, focused on post-secondary success and career readiness. Do you believe the Olathe School District is meeting expectations for this student achievement?
I do. I will never say that we are perfect and that there isn't room to grow, because certainly there is. But I think when you look at the climate that we're in right now, having to recovering from COVID and the pandemic, the strains that put on our system, when you look at our CTE and our 21st century programs, they're meeting those kids where they're at. General education, they're meeting their kids where they're at. Even special ed. I mean, all of our educational lanes are meeting the kids of our needs. Now, have we done a perfect 100% job? I wouldn't say that, and I don't think you'll find anyone in our system that would say that there isn't room for growth, because there's always room for growth, and we are always pushing. I know personally, I'm always pushing, our superintendent and our administration to do more, to deliver more, and to make sure that we are constantly trying to turn out the best product and push our kids as far as we can go.
Well, you touched on this a little bit, and it has to do with career technical education and preparing them. Kansas is experiencing record low unemployment rates, and employers are struggling to find qualified workers. How do you see the district helping to meet business community's needs for our future workforce, whether that's through work-based learning, such as internships, training programs, or other career exploration opportunities?
Yeah, when you look at the market value assets that we have, the market value requirements that we have for our district, excuse me, in order for a kid to graduate our system, they're required to have two of those market value assets, and that can be an internship, that can be working part of the day and go in school, and then extending part of the day to go work in a business, to get some hands-on real world learning. We have shifted and made that a requirement. So when our kids leave our building, they are prepared for that workforce. We have incredible partnerships with our business partners in Olathe to make sure that our kids are getting the experience that they need. And I think that's a win-win, because not only does it set up our students for success in the future, but it also gives those businesses, kind of a first grabs at our students as they're leaving our system. They've had a chance to build those relationships. They've had a chance to show future employers that they can be reliable, that they can be held accountable, that they can be productive members of our society. So I think the current partnerships that we have with our businesses, we just need to expound upon that and grow those partnerships, so we can be better, produce better workers for the future. If you look at the Panasonic plant that's coming, I know our superintendent has had multiple conversations with that organization to figure out a way that we can make sure that we are positioning our students to receive some of those jobs that are going to be coming here in the future.
Great. Okay, so here's one. What are your thoughts on efforts in the state legislature to expand school choice?
Well, I have some experience in this space, being in Topeka for 4 months or 5 months, however long it was. Natalie, I'll be honest with you, and this might be a shock, but I think our parents right now have choice. I think when you divert public dollars to go to private institutions, that only hurts the students that are in our public schools. And right now, if you can't afford to send your child to a private institution, by all means, you should definitely take advantage of that. But I also think that our public education system here in Kansas is doing a phenomenal job, and especially here in Olathe, doing a phenomenal job of meeting our kids' needs. And to take resources from our system would only do damage to our students, both presently and in the future, and it would limit our ability to be flexible and to meet our kids where they are.
Thank you. Okay, what do you think the greatest challenge is facing the Olathe School District?
Yeah, I would say that, and I touched on this earlier, we have got to get our hands around the teacher retention piece. There's data out there that speaks to how a couple different reasons why teachers are not only leaving our system, but leaving the profession altogether. And I think some of that comes back to what I mentioned earlier, teachers feeling like they aren't respected, teachers feeling like they aren't being treated as professionals. Every decision that they make has been second guessed. We really have to move away from trying to instill or trying to bring this culture, the outside culture, into our school buildings, and really, start treating our teachers with the respect that they deserve. When you look at, open enrollment coming next year is definitely going to be a challenge for Olathe. There's so many moving parts and so many unknowns with the way that bill was crafted it just leaves districts in a tough spot to be able to forecast future openings, to be able to forecast, how many teachers we're going to need, if we need to build additional buildings. So many unknowns, but we'll navigate that, and our team has already started having those conversations. But the teacher enrollment, the teacher retention, open enrollment, and then finally, I'll be remiss if I didn't, throw in public education funding as a challenge, because it truly is. Every single year here in Olathe, we move money from our general education fund to our special education fund to cover that shortfall. And when we do that, we're hurting kids, because we're taking money from general education kids and, covering a gap that I believe the state legislature should be funding. So those are I believe, from my perspective, the top three areas that are going to face Olathe here.
Well, you touched on the next question a little bit just in your prior answer, but let's explore it a little bit more. Sure. The district, like all other employers, continues to struggle to recruit and retain staff. They want to sustain quality education programs and services for students in the district. This includes teachers, paras, support positions. But in recent years, college students are not choosing education as a profession, and it continues to decline, creating a hardship for the district for recruitment. What are your thoughts about how the district can reverse this trend and or attract more professionals into the profession of teaching?
Yeah, I think we've done what I would expect our administration to do. Just this past year, when I spoke to our new teachers and our new administrators, we brought folks down from the Wichita area up here to Olathe to come work in our buildings. We have brought folks from Kansas City area to come work in our buildings. We've seen folks come from Nebraska and Oklahoma to come work in our building. So I think our human resources team is doing a really good job of expanding outside of what I think our traditional, the KC metro area would be a traditional area of recruitment. We've done a really good job of expanding that. Secondly, we've done a really good job of looking in-house. We have a partnership with a local university right now that's going to take our paras, and through a program with our paras, send them to college to get additional college credits, and then send them back here as a certified teacher. So I think we have done and are doing the things that we need to do to, one, attack, attract, and retain those teachers. And then looking at our own talent here within our district, whether it's paras or even our students, we have yet to see the fruits of our labors from our future educators, but we are excited about that. So I think, it's a challenge, but Olathe continues to step out of the box and to uncover every stone that there is to turn over to find good quality teachers to bring to our district.
Great. Okay, last question. What makes you uniquely qualified to serve as the Olathe School Board and most distinguishes you from your opponent?
I'll be honest. I don't spend a lot of time focusing on thinking about my opponent or looking them up. I'll be telling a tale if I said I haven't looked at some of his social media stuff. And I would just say that I don't want to take us backwards. I want to take us forward. I want to take our district in a place where we are forward thinking and not backward thinking. We have the responsibility is too great to look backwards. We have to look forward, because that's where our future is at. And if I'm being totally honest, it's from my perspective, that isn't what my opponent is doing. I would also say that my history and my track record of service in serving. I currently work in the schools 5 days a week, although in a different district. But I'm a school resource officer, so I have the privilege of working with some young people in the Kansas City area. But I've been truly committed to serving my community and serving this community since I've been here, and that's not going to change. I can't say the same for my opponent.
Well, thank you, Brad. That concludes our questions. Do you have any closing statement you'd like to make?
No, I appreciate the opportunity. And again, I want to thank you in the chamber for your flexibility and your willingness to get this scheduled. We have a great opportunity here come November 7th, and that's to elect someone who is reasonable, someone who is willing to get in the trenches and build bridges, someone who can build coalitions. I have the pleasure of serving as our president. And even though someone didn't vote for me this year, they nominated me last year. So I think my track record of working with other individuals and building bridges is one that will serve our district well now and into the future.
Well, this concludes our interview for the Olathe School Board Member 2. Thank you, Brad, for joining me today and for persevering to get this interview done. I appreciate it.
Thank you, and hope you...
Yeah, real quick, for more information about candidates, videos of these and other candidate forums, and advanced voting details, visit www.votejoco.com. And please be sure to share this voter resource with your colleagues, family, and friends. On behalf of the Olathe Chamber of Commerce, thank you to everyone for taking advantage of this important opportunity to learn more about the candidates. Brad, best of luck on your campaign.
Thank you.